If you know where to look, winter in the Bay Area is a good time to see huge congregations of ladybugs, more formally known as convergent ladybird beetles.
You have to keep your eyes open, and all of a sudden you'll see a huge spot of orange that doesn't quite belong. And if you look closer, it's hundreds and thousands of ladybugs, actually ladybird beetles. And our native ladybug, the convergent ladybug, has a very interesting life cycle. They're actually born in the Central Valley about March or April. As larvae, they look like tiny little orange and black alligators. Not terribly cute, especially not to the aphids that they're eating. They're in the farms and the fields, and they're gobbling down hundreds of aphids each. Finally, they'll pupate and become adult ladybugs.
As temperatures drop in the Central Valley in the fall, the aphids disappear, and restless ladybugs rise up in the atmosphere and are carried by prevailing winds toward the hills of the Bay Area.
They'll catch prevailing winds and just glide towards the west. And usually they'll come down at night. Hopefully they're here where they want to be, in Mount Diablo. And then they just kind of hang out here. They kind of stay in the shade. They can find some insects, that's fine, insects to eat. Usually they'll just look for some pollen. And when the first rains come, it gets very cold, then they gotta look for a permanent resting place. You'll see them oftentimes on the leaves of bay trees and underneath shrubs along the creek. And they just hang out there. It's a big ladybug slumber party. And why they're all together is somewhat of a mystery. Of course, they've got the orange and black coloration, nature's warning sign. They want to be seen, as opposed to cryptic, where you don't want to be seen, camouflage. If you ever accidentally stepped on a ladybug, which is probably very bad luck, little white fluid comes out of the joints. It's very distasteful. And a bird only has to eat one. That's the only ladybug it's going to worry about. So they're together to give that warning sign. Apparently they give off a fairly unpleasant odor too to deter predators. And another reason that they're all together, when the weather does warm up, they get active again, it's time to mate, and they don't have to look very far for someone to mate with. So they mate when it warms up in late February, early March, and up they go again through the atmosphere. And this time they follow the air currents back out to the Central Valley. And they'll have a meal when they get there, and they'll lay their eggs, and then they'll die. And those eggs will hatch out a few weeks later, and the cycle starts over again.
Individual ladybugs only live for 1 year, but they leave a legacy to their offspring. They guide future generations to good resting places with chemicals called pheromones. That's why humans can find them gathering in the same places year after year.
So they've got special places. Here on Mount Diablo, not only do they end up in the canyons, sometimes they end up at the summit. And Redwood Regional Park, along the San Leandro Creek and Redwood Creek, you often find them there. They're at Muir Woods. So that's always interesting. When they arrive, they come floating down, and people get hysterical having these insects descend on them. But then you tell them they're ladybugs, and of course, they're fine with that. But that's always a big deal, the return of the ladybugs.